Hello, my name is Jay and welcome back to my Tech Vault. And today we've got a whole load of rumors right before CES 2019. And before we go into the next year, I wanted to make this video because everyone's been really excited about these 20 series graphics cards, and now that we're getting into the mid to low range graphics cards, I really wanted to make this video because it's some really interesting stuff to talk about. So first off, I'm going to be talking about the 2060 and the 1160. That's right, the 1160. So it's going to be spicy. So we've got the Nvidia Geforce RTX 2060 and we've got the Nvidia Geforce GTX 1060. So we got two different cards and they've each got their own set of specs. So here I'm going to go through rumors, I'm going to go through facts, I'm going to go through leaks, I'm going to go down the whole list and also kind of make my comments about each one like I usually do, where I dissect each one, talk about how possible it is, and also talk about the reasoning and proof or supporting facts or leaks that also help convey the point that we may be seeing these cards, and most likely we probably are. From these rumors, these are pretty solid, and usually we'll get these right before official release of graphics card. So CES is going to be interesting, especially if not only from AMD but now Nvidia. So I'm going to start off with the RTX 2060. I apologize, I have my notes down here, so I'm not just losing what I'm supposed to be saying. So the RTX 2060, obviously ray tracing, and I would assume this is going to be the lowest ray tracing card. Well, why? Well, because we're not going to see a 1050 or an RTX 2050 just because as I said, on a 2070 you get about 60 FPS on low ray tracing settings. So I don't see where this card is really going to fit in. So a little confusing there, but I think that the 2060 is just supposed to be the bare minimum. As for performance, it'll probably raw performance without ray tracing enabled, just raw video gaming performance with no ray tracing, will be around a 1070, which is kind of what to expect, I guess, especially with the generational leap. No surprise there. Price of around $350, slightly above where the 1060 is sitting at originally released at MSRP. And then we've also got a lot of interesting models. We've got a 3GB model, we've got a 4GB model, and a 6GB model of video memory. Now, the reason why I didn't say what kind of video memory is because there's also differences in the video memory. So we've got ourselves a GDDR5X, GDDR5 or GDDR6. We've got two different memory models. So not only is it getting more confusing, you've got more things to look at when you go to buy your graphics card, especially in 1060s or in the 2060s. As if the last generation of 5 separate different video card models and everybody being confused and upset about getting the wrong one wasn't enough for Nvidia, they decided to roll out some more. Next up, we think, as I said, that it's going to have a similar design. The Founders Edition is going to be a similar design to the 2070, so it's going to look like a ray tracing card. I'm assuming the GTX 1180 will probably have something similar to what we saw in the 10 series, probably a similar card design like that. I think they're going to make the cards look different, at least in the Founders Edition models. And now to the 1160, the good special stuff we want to talk about, which was not expected. To be honest, really surprising actually. So everybody that was debating whether or not it was going to be 11 or 10 or 11 or 20, I guess we both were right. So it's going to have slightly higher performance of a 1060. It's going to be probably priced around at $320, somewhere around there. No ray tracing support, no ray tracing cores, and that's basically supposed to be something for like maybe someone wants to go out there and get something but doesn't want to deal with paying extra for ray tracing when especially it's not even going to work or be playable. So there's going to be no ray tracing cores. Also, it's going to have less CUDA cores than the 2060, which is kind of expected, so it's going to perform slightly between the 1060 and the 1070. And also the memory models are a little bit interesting. We've got a 3GB and a 6GB model, so we're not going to get all those fancy memory models. And I would assume there will also be differences between a GDDR5X and a GDDR6. Honestly, we'll have to see. I wouldn't be surprised to see the especially since we did see a GDDR5X model. I think they might go for the GDDR6 since we did see that previously in 1060. So now I'm going to take today's video, the rest of today's video, to talk about what this kind of means. So obviously, every time I do one of these videos, I try to sit down and say, what's the logic? Where does this fit in? How likely and how usable, and what is going to be the demand for this? Well, first off, there's been a lot of gamers for a long time, for almost a year now, that have been looking for a new gaming card. And a majority of those gamers are not going for a 2070, not going for a 2080, and not going for a 2080 Ti. They don't want to spend an absorbent amount of money to go and purchase those things when they want something that's mid-range. This 2060 will not be a ray tracing card. I don't know why. Looking at from the performance that we saw in the upper generation or the upper versions of these cards, like the 2070, 2080, all those stuff, the performance drop-offs are pretty substantial. And at the 2070, at low ray tracing settings, you get 60 FPS barely on 1080p. So that really leaves the question: where is the 2060 supposed to fit in ray tracing? Now, obviously, the RTX feature, it has, of course, RTX supported games, which use the advanced AI features, not necessarily ray tracing, which may be a reason why to buy that graphics card, to take advantage of not necessarily ray tracing, but the AI parts of RTX. That may be a separate reason why you want to buy it. But as for like raw performance, the 2060 is going to perform slightly better. It will be a pretty good mid-range graphics card, but will also leave Nvidia an option of having an upper mid-range, which is probably the 2060, and a lower mid-range, which is the 1160. Also, let's talk about those memory models. I was really confused because one of the biggest complaints with the 1060 is there was a whole wide range of different types of cards. There were slight differences that made a difference in gameplay. There was a lot of problems with people getting confused on what they were buying, and they kind of decided to go one step farther and, of course, add on more to that with a bunch of confusing cards as well. Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is that also I want to talk about in this video is the fact that all these cards, the 1060 or the 2060, is going to be having of course, a mobile version. So the 2070 is going to have a Max-Q version, and so the Max-Q version also will have the similar stuff. But I don't think we're going to get an 1160 Max-Q version. I think we're only going to get a 2060 Max-Q version, which means that we're only going to get mobile ray tracing support. As for where this card fits in, well, right now the 1160 I see a little bit of viability because it will be probably like an upper 1060 currently. It will probably be probably the top. As for the 2060, I don't think ray tracing has any value. I would not buy that card for ray tracing because you're not going to be able to have any games playable at using ray tracing, so don't bother. As for the AI features of RTX, that may be something to consider, but it will still perform, and it will still have more CUDA cores than the 1160, so keep in mind that that may be something you might want to buy, not for the ray tracing, but just for the raw gaming performance. So, these are, of course, rumors. I don't know how, obviously they're pretty concrete rumors because we've got a lot of them, and CES is right around the corner. But we've got some pretty concrete rumors, so obviously they are rumors though, so I can't tell you there. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts on these are. I'm actually pretty excited to see what happens at CES. I'm going to be really excited, actually. So thank you very much. I want you for other cool tech-related news, videos, reviews, leaks, things like that. But thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.